Thrilled to be joined here on the pod by one of the top transfer portal additions for the Kansas Jayhawks this year. Emmanuel Henderson from Hartford, Alabama to Lawrence, Kansas is where his journey has taken him after a few years at Alabama. Before we get to this season, Eman, and thanks for being on the show, my guy, talk about that journey. You spent a few seasons in Tuscaloosa. Why was Kansas the right choice for you?
It's been a long journey, man. But me entering the transfer portal, I want to go somewhere that felt like home to me and felt like they were gonna give me a great opportunity.
When you were exploring the different options, and I'm sure you had several, you had plenty of offers coming out of high school, borderline 5-star recruit, depending on which service you look at. How did you narrow it down to Kansas? What was it like fielding all those different offers?
Feeling like where I would be most comfortable and where I would fit in the offense, and who would utilize me. And I feel like Kansas was a great place to pick.
You're coming to a place where Jalon Daniels is entering, I don't know, year 11 at quarterback is what is what. Do you guys give him crap about that in the locker
We
room?
have jokes here and there. We do small things like that. We do.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly feels like he's been there for a while, but he's been incredibly productive. Did him being there factor into your decision at all? Was he a part of your recruitment to the Jayhawks?
Most definitely. We definitely connected throughout my process in the transfer portal, but he's been doing amazing. He's a great person also to be around.
In your time so far working with him since you got to Kansas, what would have been maybe a couple of things that have stood out most about what he does at the quarterback position?
His leadership, he's a great leader, I feel like. But outside of that, he's a people person. He talk very well. He's just great to be around. I feel like being around him, he make others better too.
How has it been, in the lead up to the season? Obviously, you guys going through fall camp right now, and somehow football is just a couple of weeks away, which is exciting. I think for all of us, that off season starts to get really, really long. But has there been a point of emphasis that you guys have really tried to drive home offensively as you've worked your way into a new system?
Most definitely, the off season, quarterbacks and with the wide receiver, we all been put in hours legal time. Learn the system and getting this offense down. So it's been going great.
Now, at Kansas football, for most of my lifetime, E-Man, has not been a destination sort of place, really, for anyone. And Lance Leipold has really changed that over the last couple of years. What do you like most about your head coach?
He's big on culture, and that was a big thing to me coming in here. I feel like it's a great program for culture, and not only what the things they do for you for football, but the things outside of football, and outside of football also when I'm talking about like life wise, things like that, just life situational, like paying bills and things like that. Most people, young guys don't know really about a lot that, but they really, I feel like they really harp on it.
Has it been difficult for you in this era of college football navigating NIL and the portal at the same time to figure out how you can put yourself in the best situation to succeed?
For me, I don't really worry about NIL. I feel like as you play and continue to do all the right thing, that would come. So that wasn't like a big thing on my mind, really.
You talked about the culture that Coach Leipold has established there in Lawrence, and it's been one of the biggest, I think, branding turnarounds in the country over the last couple of years. You look at Kurt Signetti at Indiana, it'd be, the same sort of thing where they've been down for a really long time. All of a sudden, there are expectations. Now, you obviously couldn't have known this unless you're an everydayer for my show, which, hey, man, I'd appreciate that. But last year, infamously at this point, some host of this podcast picked Kansas to make the Big 12 championship game. Now, the Big 12 is very deep. It is very competitive. Kansas, you were not a part of that team, so I don't hold you accountable for making me look just a little bit wrong there. But that team, I don't think accomplished all of the goals that they'd set out before the season. A couple of questions along those lines. How do you feel the culture has shifted for this program over the last couple of years? I know you just got there, but certainly you've seen it from afar. And Coach Leipold has elevated the standard. What is it like to be in Kansas right now on a football program at a traditionally basketball school where all of a sudden there are expectations that you can be one of the top teams in the conference?
Most definitely, the culture here has been amazing. Coming in, we've been working since I hit the ground, since the first day I came in. So I feel like, the standard has been set high, just come in and do your job. it's been going good though. You know, we've been working hard this off season and we've been training our butts off. So we just ready to go out there and showcase what we can do.
You committed to play for arguably, and in my view, the greatest coach in the history of college football, and Nick Saban down at Alabama. What's it been like going from that program to Kansas? What's different about those two places?
It's not really nothing different, really. Lampo, you know, he harp on the standard, and I feel like that was one of the big things. Saban was saying the same thing. So me just keeping that in my mind, you know, continue to get better each and every day and blocking out the outside noise. That was one of the big things for me.
How is it for you and your teammates to try and block out the outside noise? Because there's a lot of it now. I of all people am aware of that. There are a lot of shows, a lot of people sounding off, and I mean, you guys are young. You know how to use technology. You're on your phones, on the internet, whatnot. How do you steer clear of all that and just keep the main thing the main thing?
I feel like keeping yourself busy with like football, you know, training room, things like that. It's hard to stand around the facility. I feel like that's an easy way to stay out of trouble and block out the good noise, you know. Things like prayers and things like that, you know, that's another amazing way to block out the outside noise.
What are your expectations for yourself coming into this year in this Kansas offense?
Continue to be a great teammate, you know, doing everything I can do to help this team win and, you know, just be there for my brothers.
What are your expectations on the offensive side of the ball, just, you know, holistically?
Explosive.
Explosive is a good word. All right, we'll wrap with a couple of fun questions here. What is your favorite thing to do when you are not playing football?
Oh, easy. Fishing. I fish all the time.
My man. Okay, I've gotten into this summer.
Mm-hmm.
I've fished a little bit in the past, but that was only with other people. This year, my dad's kind of gotten me into it, and showed me more things. What do you like most about going out and fishing? I love that answer.
You know, you just clear your mind. You know, just go out there. You know, it's very quiet, so it's not called catching. So you just go out there and fish. You may not catch none every time, but
Yeah.
you know, it's very peaceful to go do.
Do you have places where you go in the Lawrence area where you go fish?
I don't know specifically, but I done been to a couple ponds around here with a couple of my teammates. So, yeah.
Nice. I love that. Do you have any pregame rituals or traditions that you just have to do, or else you feel like your head's not going to be in the right space?
Not really. Make sure I eat a steak before a game. That's what I'll probably say.
A steak before every game.
The night before a game. I'll probably say eat a steak. Yeah.
Night before. Gotta have a steak. Last question for you here, E-Man. I look at things and talk about things like schedules all the time. For you guys in the locker room, how much does that come across your radar when you're thinking about a season or what your expectations are?
For us, man, we just want to take it one game at a time. You know, we don't want to look down the schedule. You know, and we just, you know, we worry about Fresno State for week 1 and how we can get better each and every day.
Awesome, man. Emmanuel Henderson, Kansas, wide receiver, running back, a little bit of both this year.
Wide receiver, man.
Wide receiver this year for the Jayhawks, man. Appreciate the time. Thanks for stopping by.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I did not make this record prediction for Kansas just because I had E-Man on the show and he likes to fish, which I'm here for. I landed 8-4. Vegas is so good at win totals. Our friends at FanDuel are just dynamite. I don't look at the win total before I pick the schedule, and then I always seem to land on records that are either a half game over or a half game under what the total ends up being. I have 8-4 here for Kansas. Notable games, they play at Missouri in an old Big 12 showdown in week 3, one of the more under-the-radar non-conference games in the country. Tigers favored by 6.5 according to FanDuel. They have to go at Texas Tech, then play Kansas State at home. That's a tough stretch in the latter part of their season. They also have to go at Iowa State. They do end with Utah. I think they can get an upset win there. Kansas is a very variable team to me because the schedule doesn't allow them to have these prolonged stretches of, you can kind of cool off. Like, maybe a little bit, you know, after the Missouri game when you go West Virginia, Cincinnati, UCF. But then it's right back into the gauntlet on the back half. I mean, even a road game at Arizona, I don't know if that's going to be a cupcake either. So I'll land 8-4, give Lance Leipold, a coach who I like, who I've seen win with this program over the last several years. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say Kansas goes over 7.5 at 8-4, but I think they'll be right in that sort of range this year.